Welcome back. Now, today marks annual World Cancer Day, 24 hours aimed at raising awareness and education about the disease and saving millions of preventable deaths each year.
Over 8 million people die each year from cancer worldwide, but not every cancer story has to have a sad ending. And we're delighted to say we're joined this morning by two survivors who've gone on to join the fight against the disease. Stephanie Loughran and Cormac Clancy, you're very welcome to the programme. Good morning.
Thank you very much.
Morning, thank you.
Good
Pleasure
morning.
to be here.
We're surrounded by Lisa's this morning. Your daughter's here, Lisa
Yes.
Marie. Lisa's there. There's Lisa's everywhere.
Great name.
It's a great name, exactly.
Stephanie, let's talk about your story first. Take
Okay.
us back to that time when you were told that you were being visited by cancer.
I will. It was November 2011, and I had found a lump 6 months earlier and had done nothing about it. But then I went in, I had my biopsy and everything, and of course I was told I had breast cancer. Started chemotherapy in the January for 6 months. Then I had a year of a drug called Herceptin, an intravenous drip. And then I had 7 weeks of radiotherapy, and I'm on ongoing treatment at the moment, a tablet. That's for 5 years.
Stephanie, how did you feel at the time? Obviously, utter shock. Was it a surreal place and space to be in your life?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I was there, the words were said, I didn't even hear them. It went above my head. But when I did think about it, and I thought, oh, you know, I've got cancer, but it's not going to get me. That was my initial thought on it, that I do my best, that it would not get me, and that was for sure.
And in fact,
I don't know how I'm still here.
Cormac is a similar sort of reaction, I suppose, at the time, because it was back in 2009, and I think you had delayed some work appointment that morning, and you were going to get to it in the afternoon.
Yes.
Didn't expect to hear the words, "You have cancer," I'm sure.
No, I didn't. And the cancer nurses, who were superb, but they were more worried about, was I okay going home? And my feeling was, sorry, I have to be somewhere at 2 o'clock. And that's the important thing. And anyway, they were telling me we have everything in hand. They were arranging all of the medical appointments that had to be raised, and the scans and the tests that have to be done, and biopsies and all of that. So I just left it. I just said, look, that's your job. You know what you're doing. So you tell me where and when to be, and I'll be there.
Well, was it almost a case, Cormac, like Stephanie, that you didn't hear the words, or you just thought, no, okay, they know what they're doing, they have a plan?
I left it to them to do. In my view, they were the people who knew what they were talking about. I knew nothing about cancers at all, really, when it comes down to it. You know what you hear on radio, television, you read in the paper, but you really know nothing. They know what they're at. So I said, look, you just do what you have to do.
And how soon after you heard that news did you start treatment? What was the time?
I was diagnosed on the 31st of July in the morning, and the actual chemotherapy and radiation treatment didn't start until September of that year. And then during the course of that treatment, they discovered another cancer. But it was a good news, bad news story.
In your kidney, was it?
Yeah, it was a good news, bad news story. The bad news was you have another cancer, and the good news was it's not secondary, so it's okay. We'll deal with it separately later, and that was fine. I left it to them, and they did. They took it out, and that was the end of that.
You'll probably hear Stephanie on this, Cormac. You mentioned something I thought was really poignant, that cancer is a very lonely place to be because it's in your head, your body and your mind. Did you feel isolated at the time, even though you had love and support of your family around you?
Oh, I couldn't have had better support now of my daughters and my sisters and all my friends as well. But nobody knows what it's like unless they've heard those words, you've got cancer. Your life changes in a split second. And as a friend of mine said to me one day, I said, will I ever get my life back? And she said, no, but you'll have a different life. And that's true. I have a totally different life, a different attitude to life.
But you seem to have a special kind of attitude, because I was reading it even when you were going into hospital for your treatments, like you'd wear a pink wig in.
I did.
To cheer up everybody else.
I did.
So when you said that this isn't going to beat me, you sort of set your stall out from that day.
Yes.
And it hasn't beat you.
No.
You're still here?
Exactly. I'm still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And Cormac, you'd very much attribute the fact that you had a lot of love and support from family members too, but not everybody is in a lucky position like that. And
no, not everybody is. And I don't really know what it would be like not to have that support, because like Stephanie, I did have it from family and from friends, from loads and loads of people. But I agree with Stephanie. It's unique for everybody. It's lonely for everybody, because it's within you, and you have to deal with that yourself, and everybody deals with it differently.
But reading both of your stories, it's an inspirational story, but what's particularly inspirational for me is that you've gone through it, you've got through it, and now you're passing on your experiences and you're helping others. And I know, Cormac, you're involved with driving people. Can you tell us a little bit what you do specifically?
Well, the Irish Cancer Society, the volunteer driving service, we bring chemotherapy patients to and from their hospital appointments. So we collect them at their door, and we bring them to the hospital, drop them at the hospital, and then they contact us and say, we're ready to go home now. So we're there for them on a one-to-one basis for that day, for their appointment, in and out, right?
But I love the fact that you've had training for that in terms of, there are certain topics you're trained not to talk about in the car because you don't want to upset people, like politics.
Yes, sure.
Or in my case, Manchester United.
Yes.
That really upset me. Do you know
Definitely,
what I mean?
I'd avoid
but
that.
I love the way that detail, and you can of course contribute to that yourself, because you can say, well, I know when I was going through it, that didn't interest me. I just wanted to get there, get it done, and go home.
I think it's different. I mean, a lot of the training, as you say, the training is there, and it helps you to know when to talk and when not to, because there are times a patient comes out and you can sense that they don't want to say anything. They just want to be brought home.
Yeah.
They want to be alone with their thoughts, and you have to respect that.
Yeah.
And then another person might, I'm sure Stephanie would agree, might want to talk.
Might want to have a chat.
And you chat away. They might want to chat about something totally different, or they might want to chat a bit about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't talk medically because we've been through the cancer, but it's a personal thing. We don't know the medical side. We leave that to the medicals.
But are they aware that the person's coming to pick them up is somebody who's gone through it?
No, not necessarily, because a tremendous number of the drivers have not been through it. They're just people who volunteer without. So they would not necessarily know, and sometimes they would never find out, and other times they would through conversation.
Unless it comes up,
If it comes up. But
Stephanie, you also give back to your community, and you began a walking group in October. Tell us about that and who's involved.
It's all local people who had cancer, because, as I say, it's a cancer survivors walking group. It was absolutely great. We had Dermot Early, our local.
Good.
Yeah, he started us off. We had David Usher. He played the Dillon pipes, walked us down the town. Pat Tinsley, our local photographer, did great work for us.
Brilliant.
And John Holden did pamphlets for me. And not one of them asked for 1 cent.
No. And do you find that the participants in the walking group get a comfort from the person in front of them and behind them, understanding?
Absolutely, yes. We've all heard those words. And we don't go along talking about cancer, but it's just the companionship. It's just brilliant,
Support.
It's the support, exactly.
Because with the numbers climbing the way that they're climbing, I mean, you can pretty much, every family probably in the country has been affected by it. They know of somebody.
Yes.
I myself lost my mother to it a long time ago. So everybody would love to contribute and support.
Yes.
True.
And do you find that help is getting bigger and bigger?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Brilliant.
Now, I would have had a lot more people, but because I started in October, it was cold, dark, but I started because it was breast cancer month, and I thought, right, I'll start
the
it
right
now.
time.
Yeah.
Well, long may it continue.
Thank you so much.
And it'll grow and grow, and so hopefully will the friendships that you make.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
And it's been lovely to see you
They're
both
brilliant.
this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
coming in.
Cormac, and
Not
thank you,
at all.
Stephanie.
Thank you
And
very much.
if there are any people out there undergoing chemotherapy treatment and feel that a drive would help them if they don't know about it, they can either ask their local oncology nurse or go onto the website cancer.ie and they'll find
They'll
it.
get all the details there.
It's a wonderful voluntary service. Thank you so much for
Cormac.
sharing your
Thanks, Stephanie.
story.